of a series of 4 seminars of TimeWaver, of the TimeWaver devices. And we have now Michael Danz, which is a manager of international development for TimeWaver. Oh.
Oh, wait.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, there's somebody came in unmuted. That's fine.
Okay. So, well, in the first series, we're going to, Michael will talk about quantum entanglement and how our devices are able to connect to through energy to somebody and assist on how can we say it, on and improve and help on the improvement of the quality of life of our clients. So welcome, Michael, and well, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Fabian. So thank you very much for the introduction. I hope you guys can hear me clearly. I'm trying to speak slow, and I'm also trying to speak as clear as possible. I'm right now doing the webinar here from Germany, so it's around 5 p.m. in the afternoon. You see the sun is maybe a little bit setting down already. I guess for most of you, the day just starts 9 or 10 a.m. in the morning. So good morning to you. Yeah, Fabian said already we want to have a series of a few webinars regarding quantum physics, and we will start with a few basic or theoretical approaches to see on what basis quantum physical healing can actually take place. And
sorry to interrupt you, Michael. Can you please start recording this webinar? Yes, you have the option.
I actually do already, and I do with another. I actually do with another software.
Ah, perfect.
Yeah,
wow.
Because I guess the recording software I use is streaming the audio from my laptop. I don't know whether Zoom does do it.
Okay, perfect.
So then it's been recorded, huh?
Great.
Good.
Thanks.
Fabian, I leave you open, so when you want to interrupt, I leave your microphone on in case you want to add something, and then you can just pop in or two, huh?
Great, thank you.
Good, like now it was important. Good, coming back. So yeah, we want to do some. I guess it were 5 webinars, as far as I know, 4 or 5 webinars. And in the beginning, we want to start a little bit about the theoretical background of how quantum entanglement actually does work and what it does. And 1 second, yeah, there you go. And then we want to go into detail of how we can do this with technical devices, quantum radionic devices, to be very clear about that term. So if you guys have any questions, please do not hesitate to just put it in the chat window. I hope I can see it because I have a PowerPoint presentation running in the foreground. So might also check here and there just so that I'm not missing any of your questions. Otherwise, you will later get my email, and we can also go on with questions and answers after the webinar in another space and time reality, so to say. Yeah, today I want to talk about the principle of quantum entanglement, and I don't know whether you guys heard about it, whether you guys use it, because it is actually the foundation or the basic element of all the quantum healing or conscious healing processes and strategies or therapies. So I want to talk about how that theoretically actually is possible, and later on I want to also go through a few experiments, and I also want to define the space or the fields in which quantum entanglement can potentially take place. And at the end we want to maybe see a few devices, especially maybe the TimeWaver device, which is a quantum radionic device, which is actually connecting a client with a therapist on the basic or on the principle of quantum entanglement. Yeah, good. So then I would say we just start. I'll just check whether you guys have some chat windows. No, that's fine. So I guess we are good. And then let's start with the PowerPoint as far as I'm prepared. So there you go. That's my, that for all those who can't see me on the webcam. that is who I am. I'm Michael. I'm actually working with TimeWaver or in the company for about almost 8 years now, and I'm responsible for distribution part, customer care, also giving seminars, webinars, trainings online, of course, as well as personal trainings. And I'm actually working myself as well with the quantum radionic devices with TimeWaver. I'm working with the machine or with the device in the coaching area, personal coaching, mental coaching. So also remotely, with clients being somewhere in the world and me being here in Germany. But that is exactly the principle we want to talk about today: quantum entanglement. Yeah. The principle of quantum. Oh yeah. Before I want to talk about it, that's the place where I'm actually located right now. So that is the TimeWaver headquarters in Germany, which is close to Berlin. For those of you who have ever been in Germany, Berlin is the capital. Of course, it's in the northeast of Germany, and that is a little village actually close to Berlin. Fabian has already been here. A few maybe as well. And this is a little castle. It's not a real castle. It's not like a super prestigious one, but it is a small one, working space and living space as well. We also have a few branches in the nearby cities with marketing departments, distribution departments. So, but that is the headquarters, so to say. There's a meditation room, there's a yoga room, there is storage places and offices and stuff as well. Yeah. Good. That is so far where I'm right now based. So from where I talk, basically. And let's start with the principle of quantum entanglement. As I said, quantum entanglement is one of the, you could say, main parameters of quantum physics, of modern quantum physics. And the principle of quantum entanglement is a very interesting one. It actually shows that quants or particles are interconnected. And it shows that the particles which are actually interconnected do not necessarily have to be physically very close to one another. So that means you can actually have two particles in, one in Australia, one in China, or one on the Mars and one on the Moon. And because time and space reality, as we know in our physical, tangible reality, will not apply to the quantum physical laws of quantum entanglement. I'm just having a little definition coming up from Wikipedia. I just found that, but that is a very good one to, very simply explain what quantum entanglement actually means. So I'm reading that out. Quantum entanglement is a physical phenomenon which occurs when pairs or groups of particles. So pairs means two, or groups means, can also be thousands, millions, of particles are generated or interact in ways such that the quantum state of each particle cannot be described independently of the state of the others, or the other if it's a pair, even when the particles are separated by a large distance. Instead, a quantum state must be described for a system as a whole. So that is exactly what what I was trying to explain to you in the introduction, that quantum entanglement, the phenomenon, means you actually stimulate one particle. You do something with one particle. You might put a certain light or a certain frequency on it. You stimulate a particle. Many experiments have been done in laboratories. And another particle who is connected to that one, I'm coming later into practical details. The other particle which is connected to the first one which is being stimulated is simultaneously being stimulated as well. And now comes the magical part, wherever that particle is located. So it doesn't matter on the scale. It doesn't really matter where this second particle is. You can, the one particle can be here in Germany, the other one, as I said, in the US or even in Mexico. It doesn't make a difference. So time and space reality, as we know, does not apply to the principle of quantum entanglement. Yeah, and if I'm, and I will also talk about that, because this principle of quantum entanglement is the basis of all quantum healings we are actually using or doing, whether we do it with a technical device or whether we just do it with our own consciousness. Yeah. So therefore, I want to just shoot a few bullet points for you guys, and later on, I want to go in that PowerPoint presentation. I want to, kind of put a frame around those bullet points, or I could say explain it in more detail. So, the principle of quantum entanglement actually means, in a large scale, that everything is connected with everything. It's not just particles, it's not just like the atoms are connected to one another, but it's also that human beings are connected to one another. So you could say every human being is connected to another human being, or to all the other human beings, as a race, as one, you could say, society, civilization. We are all interconnected, and we are all, you could say, in one way, are depending on one another. And not just human beings, but also animals, but also plants, but also, particles in that sense. So there is a connection between one another. Whether we feel this, whether we, make use of that, or whether we are conscious or aware of that connection, of that quantum entanglement, that is another story. But in principle, we are connected. Okay, now somebody came in. I'll just have to maybe mute. Okay, there you go. Otherwise, I hear a background sound. Good. So there we go. Everything is connected with everything. And what is the main parameter of connection? Is the parameter of consciousness. Things are connected via consciousness. Of course, things are also connected physically. Like if I have my mobile phone, there are also particles in, and it is connected. So there's a physical connection as well. But that is limited to whatever that object. Yeah, I can also have an emotional connection to my partner, but that is limited usually to one partner, or maybe I have whatever, many partners. I don't know. I don't have, but in case some people do have, maybe. So therefore, there is a connection an emotional connection between me and my partner, but that is limited to those two individuals. If you come to the platform of consciousness or intention, or you could also say mind, on that level, we actually are all connected or interconnected to one another. That means we are influencing each other on that consciousness level. I influence, my colleagues I'm working with. I'm also, to some extent, influencing whatever German physical development with the webinar I'm giving right now. And I'm also influencing in a, you could say, larger scale, the global, you could say, so-called consciousness field of human society. Even though the effect might just be minute or might be super, super small, but there is an effect. The more people do have a certain intention or have the same focus, of course the effect in those fields will be stronger. And that is the next point. The connection is stronger the more the particles also belong together. Like here, the particles belong together and it forms that object of my mobile phone, right? Or if I have a partnership, then that there's a strong connection because we belong together. Or if there's a circle of friends or a seminar group, there's also a belonging together. And this, the stronger the connection, or the stronger the belonging, the stronger the dependency, you could say, the stronger the connection. And of course, these connections, they're not just there. They're not just in space without anything, surrounding them. Those connections, they're actually, according to quantum physics, they're in the morphogenetic field, or the connection is being done via the morphogenetic field or via the information field. There are different terms for these kind of, you could say, fields. Physicists, they also describe or define those fields as consciousness fields, sometimes as energy fields. They are more scientifically, you would say they are called morphogenetic fields. And with TimeWaver, we since 10 years, we actually define those fields in terms of information fields. So you can give several names to those fields, but these fields make healing on a quantum level possible. And also these fields make the connection possible between two particles or between two persons. Means between, let's put it in more therapeutic terms, that those fields make the connection possible between the therapist and the client. Yeah. So that is where we want to aim at. So we want to actually come more to the medical part, to the alternative medical part during my webinar. Yeah, those entanglements, those quantum entanglements, they work beyond space and time reality. That's what I was gonna telling you before, that time and space reality, as we know, is limited to our physical experience, to our sensual experience or perception. So you could say, according to physics, we actually live in a four-dimensional time and space reality. I'm coming to that point later on, I will show you. But those fields or those quantum entanglements, they are not just working on those physical levels we can perceive with our senses. They work far beyond those levels. And therefore, time and space between a point A and a point B is not relevant for quantum entanglement principles. So therefore, you notice in any healing, in any quantum healing, your clients can potentially be somewhere else on the planet, and you can be sitting in your rooms, and you can do, whether you use a technical device or not, but you can actually work like this. Somebody came in, sorry, I have to just mute people again, sorry, yeah, there you go, that was Isabel. Hi Isabel. So, okay, let me go in again. We were beyond time and space reality. Yeah, and what I said, this is of course the basis or the foundation of any quantum healing. So prior to these modern technical days, you would also do quantum healing on a very much personal consciousness level. And you would have, a lot of, in almost all the cultures back all around the world, you would have principles of consciousness healing or quantum healing. These days they would call it maybe, those days they would call it differently. These days we call it quantum healing. And we actually use the power of consciousness. So whatever we do in terms of quantum healing, it is based on the principle of quantum entanglement. Even if we send somebody some healing frequencies just by our meditation, just with our own abilities as a person, then we also use the principle of quantum entanglement. But since about, you could say maybe 10, 20, maximum 30 years, we have technical equipment which can copy personal skills of therapists using the principle of quantum entanglement in technical devices. There you go. And these technical devices they have several names. You could call it quantum radionic devices, quantum healing devices. And TimeWaver, the company I'm working for since 8 years, we actually produce, made in Germany, devices like this, which can send healing frequencies over any distance, wherever the clients are. And you can also, vice versa, read or do a diagnostic, do an analysis in the field of a person, wherever that person is. So you do not necessarily need the physical contact of your client using quantum radionic devices. Your clients could potentially be all around the world. And last bullet point is, quantum entanglement gives meaning to life in general, because if I know that I am potentially connected to each and every one, then that makes me becoming more conscious of what I do, what I think, and what I talk. Because then I'm more aware of things in my life, and I'm also more aware of what I do and how I act. And because I know it affects my environment. And again, my environment affects me again back. So it gets reflected by the environment back into my consciousness. So therefore, it changes my own approach to life. Good, you guys. I hope, let's see. No questions so far. Maybe I just have 1 minute of questions and answers, but I guess you guys are fine. Good. So if you have questions, you let me know. Perfect. Good. Yeah. There we were. Good. I'm about to show you a little video. I hope you can hear it. It's just 2 minutes. It is the principle of quantum entanglement just from a university in the UK being done in the cartoon. So yeah, it is very interesting, just so that you can basically understand it from another perspective. I just press play, and I hope you can properly understand. In 2 minutes, you can give me feedback whether you could hear the audio. Okay, there you go.
Great-great-granddaddy of wacky quantum weirdness is entanglement. If time reversal symmetry destroys the notion of time, then entanglement crushes our experience of space. Two objects, two electrons created together, are
Mike.
entangled.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we cannot see the video. Maybe you can share your desktop. We can hear it, but we cannot see the video.
Okay, well, that's a good one. But you could see the PowerPoint, right?
Nope.
You could not see the PowerPoint.
We're seeing you.
Really?
So share your screen.
Wow, guys. But let's see.
There you go. We can see it.
But did you see these points here? No, huh?
I'm seeing them. Yes, I'm seeing them.
But you couldn't see them
Yes.
before, huh?
Wait.
Did
Yes.
You could see them
So
before.
everything okay. Everything is okay.
Good, very good. Okay, well
Thank
then.
you.
Okay,
Sorry.
then we go ahead. No, that's okay. Let me see. There was a chat. Yeah,
We can see them. Yes.
Zoom could not see them when you were talking before, but I can see them now. Okay, so people could not see that before. Wow, there you go. Wow. Okay, guys, then I go just quickly through again here. That is my name, now you see me again. Okay, guys. Sorry. One more time, just quickly. That was the castle I was talking about, and I was so proud to present you the picture, but you couldn't see it. I'm sorry. And that was the definition of what we call quantum entanglement. I was reading it out, and I was also having the PowerPoint for you ready, as you see. And then I was just coming up with those bullet points. So later on, if you want me to, you will also get a recording as a video, but you will also get maybe this. I can give you the PowerPoint as a PDF, so you can also use that. Good. I hope you're good. Okay, let's go ahead. Fabian, I mute you again. You can unmute you just in case. Good. Now I was about to send you. Okay, now here we go, and I'm going to play again. Huh?
Great-great-granddaddy of wacky quantum weirdness is entanglement. If time reversal symmetry destroys the notion of time, then entanglement crushes our experience of space. Two objects, two electrons created together, are entangled. Send one to the other side of the universe. Now, do something to one, and the other responds instantly. So, either information is traveling infinitely fast, or, in reality, they are still connected. They are entangled. And, since everything was entangled at the moment of the Big Bang, that means everything is still touching. Space is just the construct that gives the illusion that there are separate objects.
Okay, guys. Could you hear that, Fabian? What was that possible to hear and see?
Yes, we can hear that.
Good. Hearing and seeing, huh?
Yes.
Very good. Yeah, sorry, guys. Now, I guess we are good with PowerPoint again. Yeah, so I guess that was a good explanation just to underline the principle what I was just talking about, that those two quants, wherever they are, you can, they're actually connected to one another. There are some more practical experiments I'm about to talk about right now so that you can understand more how those things do practically apply. Yeah, the next one I want to talk about is a guy called Burkhard Heim, which was a German quantum physicist and also chemist. And he's very famous in Germany, and he was also, you could say, theoretically developing TimeWaver with Markus Schmieke together, the inventor of TimeWaver technology. And he came up with a 12-dimensional model of reality. And as I was just telling you prior, that we are living in a so-called 4-dimensional time and space reality. As you see, we have the 1, 2, 3 dimensions. They are the space dimensions. As we know from math, you have a coordination, like you have an X, Y, Z. How you say that? This is a coordinate system or something? Probably, yeah. And then the 4th dimension is the time dimension, which we perceive as past, present, and future. So in that sense, we are living in a 4-dimensional time and space reality. That is what we call the visible world. That is what we can perceive with our senses. We can hear, we can see, we can touch, we can smell. Things like this. We can use our senses to actually perceive or to be in that 4-dimensional time and space reality. But beyond that, there are some other dimensions which are beyond our sense perception. So to be easy, or to simplify the dimension 5, 6, 7, and 8, you can say this is the so-called information field or morphogenetic field. So that is the field which actually interconnects through, which actually connects, you could say, mind and matter, or which connects consciousness and matter. The one, you could say, question quantum physics was asking, or the one question quantum physics was posing since time immemorial is the one question: how can mind or consciousness influence material processes? So you can say, how can the mind or consciousness is influencing, or how can that influence our visible world? How can a conscious approach, my intention, my mental focus, how can that actually change my physical environment, in healing? How can I, with my consciousness, with my mind, create my own dis-ease, or how can I create my own healing? You know about few sorcerers or magicians who would bend spoons just by their mental power. That's maybe not all we want to do today, and that's also not really what we are aiming at with TimeWaver. But we can very, very fine processes we can manipulate, or we can actually, you could say, influence with our consciousness, so that we have a material changing result. Good. So, okay, very good. So, therefore, you see the pure mental or consciousness dimensions, which is 9, 10, 11, 12, is, you could say, is being shielded by the information field, or is being, you could say, there's a buffer, there's a so-called layer dimension between our physical visible reality. And it's good. Because if all our mental approaches, if all our thoughts, emotions, ideas would become reality, the time we would think of it, we would probably, human society would extinct itself within, 2 hours. Because if all the thoughts, if all the mental processes and emotional processes of everybody would immediately manifest in our physical reality, we will probably not be able to survive, because our thoughts, our mental state is not very clear. So therefore we have a so-called information field which is in between those, you could say, consciousness realms, those higher dimensions, and our physical reality. And according to the impact of our thoughts, or according to the emotional charges of our thoughts, the possibility of manifesting thoughts becomes quicker or stronger than if we are just having a fleeting thought of something. I don't know, I guess we have about 50,000 thoughts a day. There was a statistic, I'm not sure about the number, but we have thousands of thoughts just one day. If all our thoughts would manifest, we would probably go crazy ourselves. So therefore, it's good that we have those morphogenetic fields which allow certain thoughts to manifest and certain thoughts not. So according to this 12-dimensional model of Burkhard Heim, we actually built our TimeWaver radionic device, which has the capacity to now communicate between consciousness and material interfaces. So the TimeWaver in a way is a device which actually does a photograph of those information field current state of a certain person's situation, and can show the results in form of result lists in different areas. But we'll come to that maybe this webinar time or maybe another time. Yeah, there's one experiment which is very you could say famous, especially in Europe. There is a guy, a physicist, who's called Rupert Sheldrake. He's British, and he's also coming to our conferences in Germany if we have events and conferences here. He's working since many decades. Actually, his whole life he's working on proving morphogenetic fields, proving quantum fields in certain experiments. And one experiment is a very famous one. Is one he did with a dog, as you see. I've prepared it as for you to make it a bit more visual. So he had a dog, and the dog was at home, and he had a dog owner who was actually 200 kilometers, or you could say 200 miles for those who use miles, away. So basically, there was a dog owner working 200 k's away, and the dog being at home 200 k's away from the owner's working place. They actually put two cameras in two places, one at the working place and one at the home, and they've filmed, they've recorded that whenever the owner of the house, whenever the owner of the dog would make the decision to go back home, to drive back home, the dog would start responding instantaneously at the same moment. Although there are 200 kilometers in between them still, so it would take him at least 2 hours to go with the car from his working place to wherever he's living. But still, although he was not in range of, in the visible range, although he was not in the audible range, he was not in range that the senses of the dog could actually perceive him, like also not smelling, because it's 200 k's away. But as soon as the dog owner would give the impulse of coming home, the dog would sense it immediately and would start doing dog things, like, waving with the tail, going in circles, doing barking and stuff. Reproducible. So those experiments, they have been done over and over again, and already since more than 20 years. And there is a proof that they are connected with an invisible field. These are basically two quants, two particles. Now we are having a practical application of quantum entanglement. The one particle is the dog, and the other particle is the dog owner. If I stimulate one, the other one gets simultaneously, instantly stimulated as well. And you could put 200 k's in between. You could put 2,000 kilometers. You could put maybe 200,000 kilometers. That doesn't make a difference. It's not the amount of zeros you add to the distance between the dog and the owner, or between one particle and the other particle. But now comes the interesting part. If I would now go from home, like me, Michael, from Germany, sitting here doing the webinar, if I would go from home, would that dog, which I'm just showing you right now here, would that dog do some dog things? Probably not, because we do not have a solid connection. We are not belonging to one another. Remember, I had those bullet points in the beginning. We are not belonging to one another. So therefore, if I come home, the dog would not do anything. Because there's no bondage between these two particles, between me and the dog. But if the connection is there, then those fields operate in terms or on the principle of quantum entanglement. And that makes the dog respond simultaneously. I have a little video again, which is a bit older one, but it's also just 2 minutes. And that actually is a video from Rupert Sheldrake filming those two, like having a camera at the dog's place and having a camera at somebody else's place. It's not exactly the working place, but it's one of those experiments, and I want to show you that one. Yeah, experiment done by Rupert Sheldrake. So if you want to look it up on YouTube or somewhere else, you can always look that one up. I'm playing that one, so you will see that experiment. We go now.
Many dogs, cats and other animals pick up their owners' intentions. They seem to be telepathic with their owners. One of the ways in which dogs show this behavior is knowing when their owners are coming home. About 50% of dog owners have found that the dog goes and waits at a door or a window before the person gets home. We've done experiments that show it is really happening. We film the place where the dog waits. We have people go at least 5 miles away. We have them come home at random times. They travel by taxi to avoid familiar car sounds. And the dogs still know. They start waiting when the person decides to go home. So they're responding to the person's intention, and therefore it seems to be a telepathic phenomenon. It's what's going on in the person's mind, not noises or physical clues or anything like that, that's telling the dog when they're coming. I think social groups of animals have morphic fields. Termite nests, ants' nests, bees' hives, and flocks of birds and schools of fish do as well. The whole group behaves as if they're a single organism. I think all social animals, including us, have fields for social groups that link the members together within the group and continue to connect them even when they're away from each other, physically separated. The closest physical analogy to telepathy is in quantum physics, quantum non-locality. Quantum non-locality is when two particles have been part of the same system. They're part of the same system, they move apart, and when they move apart they remain linked to each other, or entangled, as quantum physicists say, so that a change in one instantly affects the other. My idea of morphic fields is very similar in spirit to quantum theory. The morphic fields are a bit like quantum fields. They're probability structures. Nature's organized by invisible fields. Living organisms are organized by invisible fields. This seems to be the nature of nature.
Yeah, guys, so I hope you could hear that. That was a bit of an explanation of those fields directly from Rupert Sheldrake. It was a bit of an older video, but I hope you could see it. Also with Zoom, maybe the connection might not be as perfect. Good. Somebody's coming in. Wait a second, I have to mute somebody probably because... or maybe Fabian, you can mute all the players, otherwise I have it in the background. I don't want to be rude by muting, but otherwise I'm having a lot of background noise. Yeah, Fabian, maybe you can... I don't know how that works with Zoom. You can do this, Fabian? Anyway, good. Okay, guys, whoever is right now here, maybe you are not then talking, and then we can go on nicely, although you have the video on your microphone. Okay, so that was a video of Rupert Sheldrake, which was explaining about exactly what I said about those particles, and that was, you know, explaining that he was having... Oh yeah, guys, see there are two of you guys who do have the microphone still on. Guillermo Gardenes, maybe you can just mute your microphone, because otherwise, you know, I hear even if you're breathing. You have a very sensitive microphone, so I don't know how. I can't mute you here, but yeah, I hope that works. Okay. No, it doesn't. Who? One second. Okay, guys, give me 1 second. I'm trying to do that. Yeah. So, okay, I hope that works now. Anyway, I'm just going ahead. Good. So that was Rupert Sheldrake, as I said, and he is, of course, since many, many years, is actually doing a lot of those experiments, as you have seen. And also he said that flocks of fishes or birds, they are also interconnected with those fields, which means they are actually, like, all the different members of those groups are interconnected with those fields, and because they're not communicating. If you have seen in the video, if a flock of birds is flying, it's like one formation, and the way they are actually flying is in one piece. Actually, it looks like one form, one big particle, although there are many different little particles included. So although they are not communicating verbally, everybody knows what he or she is supposed to do. So therefore you can assume that there are fields which are interconnecting all the different elements of one group. So are we as human beings also interconnected, and we also communicate on one level, whether we are aware or not, and we can use that in quantum healing. That's the whole principle behind healing. Yeah, so that was the video, and you see the question coming up is, what connects actually two particles? And that is an interesting part. To answer that correctly, I want to bring up some quotes which are from some renowned personalities. This is one quote from Nikola Tesla. I want to read that out. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Or you could also say information. You could say vibrational patterns. So, the more finer structures of universe are not just physical forms. There are, energy fields, there are vibrational fields, or you can say even information fields. There's another guy who is called Anton Zeilinger. He's an Austrian guy, which is close to Germany. He got a lot of quantum physical rewards for his work. And he said something very interesting. He said, ultimately, it turns out that information is a fundamental building block of the world. We must, at some point, say goodbye to the naive realism according to which the world itself exists without our intervention or without our observation. So that means basically the fundamental building block is an informational building block, although you cannot really touch information in that sense. And whether we observe how information is flowing or what information does, or if we intervene with it, that is what creates our reality we live in. So it's again the question quantum physicists ask themselves to say, how does consciousness influence matter? And what does matter if I observe it? Does it change its characteristics? And that is actually what we have come up, or what quantum physics have come up with, that the characteristic is being changed if we observe the phenomenon itself. So therefore, the question is, what are information? And also, how does information affect us? Because that is a very important question. How does information affect us? So in order to answer this, I have a very good example, and I want to give you the example of language. You see that picture? That's a picture of love and hate. So that is a very nice example. I usually like to actually use just to demonstrate what the power of information has on us. If my wife tells me I love you, then I have a certain response. I might respond very kindly, and I want maybe have a certain physical response. And if my girlfriend or if my wife tells me I hate you, I also have a physical response, which might be different from the one I had in the beginning. So one time I respond this way, and another one and the second time I respond that way. What lets me respond one time this in this direction and the other time in that direction, totally differently. So it's not the language, it's not the one word, love and hate, which I change in a sentence, which gives that physical response, and on the other side, that physical response. It's not the word love and hate, which you just, twist in that sentence, which you just exchange, and that makes that reaction or that reaction. It is actually the content or the informational content which is underlying under that word. You could say language here is being used as a carrier object. Love or hate are just words, or just, they're just certain, there are certain vowels and certain letters being put in a certain sequence. But that is not what gives this response or that response. That is just a carrier object. But what we mean with love, what we mean with hate, that is what gives a certain response, this or that response. So, that is just one example to actually demonstrate you that we use a lot of carrier objects. Language is one carrier object. If we have a memory stick, we also, we put some MP3 music on a memory stick or on our mobile phones, then, we just use that as a carrier object, our mobile phones. But actually, what is more important is the content, is the information which is stored on the mobile phone, where we use just the mobile phone as a carrier object. So in the same way, that is a principle of homeopathy and digital homeopathy, which we will cover in another webinar. Today, I don't want to go that deep, but I just want to show you that there is a difference of a carrier object and the informational content. The carrier object might be localized form. That mobile phone is localized. That object I can't move. But I can, what I can do is like the information itself, let's say the MP3 song files which are stored on my mobile phone, I can upload them into the cloud, into the internet, and wherever I am on the planet I have access to the internet, I can download them as well. So the information field is a similar, you could say, phenomenon. There is like all the information regarding the universe are stored in each and every point of the universe. That is a quantum physical definition of morphogenetic fields or information fields. So you can access, if you can access each information of the universe in each and every point of the universe. Speaking in medical terms, we can access those fields of our clients as a therapist using quantum radionic devices from wherever we are. So we can have remote diagnostic approaches and we can have remote therapeutic approaches. So we can treat clients, or we can optimize clients in the information field wherever they are, and we can analyze certain information about them also from their field wherever they are. So that is the remote healing approach, which we actually copy with quantum physical devices such as TimeWaver. And as I was telling here, language is just a carrier object, and my mobile phone also just a carrier object. And in the next system, we will actually talk about what digital homeopathy is and how these carrier objects are needed or sometimes not needed anymore. As an opposition, some people, they just say, hey, I just only believe what I see. Right? So they're actually limiting their reality on their physical sense perception ability. So, like here we say, hey, we just, love and hate you can't see. I can't see with my eyes the letters if somebody writes that down. I can hear it if somebody talks to me. But the meaning, love itself, the emotion, I can't see. I can't see electricity. I can see electricity by the effect of the light is, bright in a room. But electricity itself, the energy, I can't see with my senses. Right? So there is a lot in this universe we cannot see with our senses. Even modern scientists, they have agreed that we cannot even perceive 1% of what actually surrounds us with our senses. So there's a lot more than what we can actually see. And if we just stick to our visual range of sense perceptions, or what we can see with our eyes, we can actually see within a frequency range of ultraviolet and infrared. That is a very, very small range of possible of a possible visible range of our sense perception. So the range in which we can see our reality with our eyes only is just between ultraviolet and infrared. And whatever is beyond that frequency range, we cannot see. We can maybe broaden our visual perception with certain technology, like certain night goggles, or I don't know, in military they have certain things, and then you can maybe access a little bit more of the spectrum of visual sense perception. But that is still just a small widening of what is possible. Still, we are very much limited. So if we come now to a holistic therapeutic approach of clients, so now we are talking more medical. Now I want to actually I want to tell you how you can actually apply that principle in medical terms, or as a therapist. So you see all those levels, and there are even more. Like, these are 7 levels, which are, if you want to have a holistic therapeutic approach of a client, you need to address all the levels. You cannot just look at the physical level, which is here number 1. You cannot just look at the body. You cannot just isolate the symptom. You cannot just say that person has cancer. I'm just treating the cancer, but I'm not looking at the person. I'm not looking at his mental stage. I'm not looking at his emotional stage. I'm not looking at his energetical level or spiritual well-being, or not even on his environment. But we need to address all the different levels if we want to see a person as a holistic being. So the environment is very important. We work 8 hours, or maybe sometimes even 10 or 12 hours a day in our professional environment, in our companies, in our working positions. So that is a very important factor. If we have burnout, mental stress, whatsoever, motivation disorder, because our working space is not supporting our personality, well, we can become sick. So a cause of dis-ease can potentially be in the environment we live. Or if I have a relationship with a partner and that's not suiting me, then I also become sick. If I cannot mark my territory in the relationship, if he or she is crossing constantly my personal boundaries, how can I become, how can I stay healthy in that sense? Also, the physical level is important. That will be the next level, because we also have to consider the physical symptomatic. We have to deal with the disease, with the physical, expression of the disease. We also have to deal with that. But that is also just one part of the equation. We also are biochemical beings. We are consisting of molecules, proteins, amino acids, trace elements, and so on and so forth. So we have a lot of hormones. We are a biochemical being as well, and we also need to keep the balance there. If a hormone level is not in balance, we feel depressed, or we might just fall asleep, or we might be hyperactive. There are many different symptoms. Then we are an energetical being, because you all know the meridians. According to traditional Chinese medicine, we have a lot of meridians, and along those meridians we have energy points. If you stimulate them, you can unblock the energy flow of a certain meridian, let's say lung, kidney, liver meridian. So you might not see those meridians with your eyes, because they're not part of the visible range of sense perception, but they are there. If you stimulate them, you have a physical effect. And of course, we are emotional beings. The whole psychotherapy is based on emotions. and on the mental level, like emotional, like feelings and thinking patterns. You know, like certain people, they just feel again. They have a feeling in a loop, and therefore, you know, they can't come out themselves. So you have to also address the emotional level of a person if you want to address that person holistically, and mentally as well. And of course the spiritual level as the topmost one, because we need to have a purpose in life. A person becomes sick if there's no purpose in life. So if people just live for the sake of living, you know, speaking a bit frankly, then, you know, if people don't have a purpose, a mission, why they live, a reason why they live, then, you know, people, they also become depressed. These days, that is a very strong phenomenon in our society, that most of the people, they don't know really why and how they live. All those levels, and there are more than those 7, you know, but you could subdivide them. But all those levels, they are interconnected. And the interconnective part is the information field. And that interconnective part is the field which combines all the levels. And this is the field we are actually using TimeWaver for. Now I'm going a bit fast forward and not doing this, but I'm just want to sum it up a little bit. The information field is not consisting of physical forces, but it is consisting of informational patterns. And those patterns, they can be reprogrammed if they are not in balance or if they are not optimized. A disease is a wrong programming of the information pattern or the information field of that person. So quantum physical noise processes in TimeWaver, we come to that point in another one, can show conscious and unconscious content of a person's or of a personality, of mental or emotional patterns. And healing is actually an awareness of this so-called blocked content. Yeah, the body, the emotional body, the mental body, or the physical body gets necessary information about problems and its potential solutions. And consciousness, as we said in the beginning, is the force which actually brings forth physical potential realities. So our consciousness is influencing our reality, is influencing our healthy or our diseased state of existence. And as a healer, as a therapist, we can influence the well-being of our clients with our personality, but also with technical devices. So the mind has a direct influence on material processes. That's what I was just saying. So consciousness interacts with the material consciousness via the information field, and vice versa. The mind creates matter in the information, and vice versa. The material world is influencing the mind or the mental or the consciousness of a person via the information field. It always goes both ways. Yeah. So now, what's the idea behind TimeWaver? You know already the picture on the left side, and as I said already, consciousness is the key to for the communication between the body and mind, because the consciousness can influence those fields, and the intention is very important for the healing processes with TimeWaver. TimeWaver has a holistic approach because we really want to, connect or address all those. Remember, 7 levels, starting from the environment all the way up to the spiritual level. We not want to just treat the physical level or the mental level or whatever the karmic level, but we want to actually combine them, because a holistic person is you could say a healthy person is a person who's healthy on all those levels. Yeah? And what can truly communicate with the information field or with the morphogenetic field is our consciousness. Is our consciousness as a healer and or therapist, and also as a client. So ideally the client is also involved in the healing process. That's how TimeWaver looks like. Just for those who have never seen the machine, the device, it comes with a laptop, it comes with a software, and it comes either with a big table unit, the one you see with the 3 little round pieces, and it also comes, or it can come with a mobile unit for traveling, to have mobility. TimeWaver is a system made in Germany. We have over 10 years of market experiences, so we are on the market right now, since more than 10 years, 10 and a half years by now. And we have over 500,000 databases, which is the core piece of the software, of the technology, which is the vocabulary with which the machine or the TimeWaver can actually talk to us in terms of our intention, where we want to go. We have various software modules, so we can do an aura scan, we can do a meridian scan, we can do an organ scan in the field. We can do a timeline, like we can go back in time and find certain events, traumatic experiences. So we have a lot of software modules, and I'm going to show this in another webinar. We have sophisticated hardware, which is a split hardware. It works on a photon level with a so-called light quantum resonator or photon laser, and it works as well on the electron level with a so-called noise generator. It's a bit sophisticated. I won't touch it now, but we have more than 3,000 of those big devices being sold in Germany, Switzerland, and Austria, like German-speaking countries alone. So we have a lot potential. We have a lot of clients. There's a network. There's a field of users who are actually using the device and who are creating the field of healing with the machine. And we have a team of experts, a lot of experts in different healing areas who are working together with us to create new databases, new therapy strategies we can then apply for clients and patients. That is how the hardware looks like. You have those up there. I told you there was a light quantum resonator. There are the noise generators down at the bottom. This hardware is connected to the laptop with the software, and you usually let this run 24/7. That means you never switch it off. Whenever you do not do the diagnostic part or the analysis in the field of a client, you actually do the optimization. That means you're sending healing information into the field of that client, even while you as a therapist are sleeping. You do not have to consciously always connect with the device. You can also, you could say, disconnect once you have consciously programmed the device to do what it's supposed to do. This is something else I will talk about next time, because we have probably already covered the time. We are 5 minutes over time. So thank you very much, guys. I hope you could actually get an idea. I don't know how it works now with questions and answers. Let me see. Oh, Ginger's.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there you go. So
well, Michael, can you please open Ginger's microphone?
I
think I would love to hear her and
Ginger
a little bit.
Ginger,
we are
Yes.
working with Ginger in the United States, with Ginger and Isabel, and it's a pleasure always to have you here. So please.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I just wanted to say to all of our people who jumped on that, the notice didn't even go out until last night, after a lot of you were already sleeping. So thank you for getting on the call. I know that this is the kind of thing that our people, that Isabel's my people for energy events, global, that this is the kind of food we want to feed our people, because we love it and it's so important. We saw the device for the first time, Isabel and I did, in Mexico about a year ago. Well, maybe not a year ago, maybe 8 months ago. And we immediately, both being biofeedback practitioners and me being an instructor, and looking for a new, cleaner device, I would say, for me. When I saw TimeWaver, it was I have to have that. So we don't yet have a device, but we went to hear Michael speak a month ago, or 3 weeks, whatever, about a month ago in Mexico again. And this information, whether you're using one of our, biofeedback devices, or you're, just like he said, on so many of the different modalities that all of us on this call use, this information in this four series webinar events that Michael's so generously doing, and Fabian, is so useful that, Michael, if I can, after you have the recording of this, I would love to send it out to our field, because I'm sure there are so many people that wish they would have seen, and heard what you said, because it makes everything that we're doing make more sense. And so thank you both, Fabian and Michael. And I don't know if Isabel is available to jump in and say something too, but we really want to welcome and thank our students for being, and colleagues for being on the line, and you all too. So I'll hand it over.
Thank you very much, Ginger.
And thank you. It was excellent, Michael. Excellent.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was a test today. We also haven't started that before, so I was also just preparing the last days those PowerPoints, and to see how things fit in. I guess to say something about our next one, Fabian. This is we'll have when is the next one? When is the second part? I guess it's. Do we have it in mind?
I will tell you in a moment, but maybe you can open Isabel's microphone in the meantime.
Okay. I was just to see, where's Isabel? Isabel could be on. Is she not doing anything? Isabel, now.
Here I am.
Isabel, now.
Yeah, there she is.
You go
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hola a todos.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
Mucho gusto. Qué bueno que estén con nosotros. Ha sido muy esperado esta posibilidad de poder comunicar de una manera pues más clara todo lo que es esta forma de trabajo, esta parte cuántica, y Michael es verdaderamente increíble en la forma de explicar. So Michael, thank you. We have been, I guess me and many other people working with the biofeedback or these kind of quantic devices have been waiting to be able to understand much more about how this works.
Yeah.
And you make it so much easier to understand. So thank you very much. It's incredible how clear and easy you put it. So thank you very much. Fabian, gracias por hacer esto posible, porque yo creo que va a ser... ¿Sí? ¿Me escuchan?
We lost you for a bit.
No, she was good. We could hear.
Oh, okay, it was me then. Sorry.
Ok, Fabián, gracias a ti por hacer esto posible, por organizarlo, porque creo que no solo para los practicantes, yo mientras escuchaba a Michael, en mi cabeza decía, se lo voy a mandar a mis hermanas, a mis primas, la gente que siempre pregunta, ¿qué es lo que haces y cómo funciona?
Claro.
Entonces, es crear un mundo mejor.
La idea, ofrecer... The idea is to offer very valuable information to all the energy healers or energy enthusiasts that can improve the understanding of these therapies. Yeah. So you can share this content. You can offer all this information to whoever you think it's important. There's a lot of misunderstanding too and misinformation in all the in a lot of practitioners, and we see that it is important to share all of this. And thank you very much, Michael. You're the best explaining these things. Okay. And we're looking forward for the next session.
Yeah, this is, and the next session will be the 6th of April.
Yes, exactly, and it will be in the role of consciousness in the healing process.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
It will be
It's
another great masterclass, and we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it will be next week Friday. It's the 6th of April, same time, and we will have consciousness and healing process. So then we focus a bit on consciousness, and we'll go more into the matter until we also dive into the software at some point and see how we practically do an analysis and what it actually can do for our clients. That we will have as well.
Well, looking forward to
Good.
hear all of that information. Yes. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you so much, guys.